In the treacherous halls of Joseon dynasty's royal palace, love becomes the deadliest weapon of all. When Hwa-yeon is torn from the arms of her true love and forced to become the king's concubine, she enters a gilded cage where power is the only currency and survival demands sacrifice. Caught between a puppet king who obsesses over her, a vengeful former lover turned eunuch, and a ruthless queen mother who poisons anyone threatening her grip on the throne, Hwa-yeon must transform from a grieving daughter into a calculating player in a game where one wrong move means death. As bodies fall and loyalties shatter, she learns that in a court built on betrayal, the only way to protect what you love is to become more ruthless than those who seek to destroy you. This is a chilling tale of forbidden desire, devastating revenge, and the monstrous price of power in a kingdom where even the innocent cannot escape the stain of blood. Before we step into the Palace of Secrets and Betrayal, don't forget to hit subscribe. It keeps me going and helps more movie lovers discover these hidden Asian gems. The story begins in the Joseon dynasty, where Prince Sung-won dines at the home of court minister Shin Ik-chul. Despite his royal blood, Sung-won is humble and treats everyone with respect, much to his mother's disappointment. He visits Ik-chul's household frequently, but not out of duty. He is secretly, hopelessly in love with Ik-chul's daughter, Shin Hwa-yeon. His heart breaks when he discovers that she's already in love with a commoner named Kwon-yu. Years earlier, Kwon-yu had saved Ik-chul's life during the war, and in gratitude, Ik-chul took him in. Over time, Kwon-yu and Hwa-yeon fell deeply in love. When Sung-won's mother learns of his affection for Hwa-yeon, she warns him to stay away. A royal should never disgrace himself with a commoner. Once the king's concubine, she is now the stepmother of the reigning king, who also happens to be Sung-won's half-brother. The king's wife has just died, leaving him without an heir. He visits his stepmother, asking her to help him find a new wife. Wasting no time, Sung-won's mother suggests Hwa-yeon as a concubine for the king, a cunning move that ensures her son's love remains impossible. When Sung-won discovers the plan, he storms into Ik-chul's home in anger and heartbreak. Meanwhile, Hwa-yeon, unwilling to become the king's concubine, flees with Kwon-yu, but they are captured the next morning. Kwon-yu fights fiercely to protect her, but is overpowered. Ik-chul announces that Kwon-yu will be executed for defying the court. To save him, Hwa-yeon takes the blame and agrees to become the king's concubine. She vows that if Kwon-yu is killed, she will take her own life. She is taken to the palace, a place she dreads, where even her body no longer belongs to her. In time, she bears the king a son and becomes queen. 5 years later, Sung-won returns to the palace to visit his brother, who has fallen mysteriously ill. Unable to bear seeing Hwa-yeon with his brother, Sung-won had left the palace years earlier. Now reunited, Hwa-yeon expresses relief that he is well. Moved by her concern, Sung-won presents her with a hairpin, a token of his enduring affection, unchanged even after she became his brother's queen. Soon after, the king's condition worsens. Despite the royal physician's efforts, he dies from an unknown illness. Suspecting the king was poisoned, Hwa-yeon's father vows to uncover the truth. But before he can act, he and the ministers loyal to the late king are arrested for treason under orders from the queen mother. Soon after, Sung-won is crowned king. But his title is only symbolic. His mother, the queen mother, declares herself regent and seizes full control of the royal court. Sung-won becomes nothing more than a puppet ruler under her command. Ruthless and power-hungry, she rules with tyranny and fear. Her first order is to remove Hwa-yeon and her young son from the main palace, banishing them to a secluded residence where every move they make is watched. Despite her confinement, Hwa-yeon refuses to give up her search for the truth behind the late king's mysterious death. One day, Hwa-yeon's maid, Gum-ok, confides in her about an underground dungeon that only the queen mother and her trusted guards can access. Determined to uncover the truth, Hwa-yeon finds and sneaks into the dungeon. What she finds horrifies her. Prisoners chained and tortured like animals, victims of the queen mother's cruelty. There, she also finds the missing kitchen matron, frail and terrified. The woman reveals that on the day the king died, the queen mother had ordered the royal kitchen not to prepare his meal. Instead, she personally invited the king to dine with her. After returning from that visit, the king suffered violent illness until his death. The revelation chills Hwa-yeon to the bone, and fills her with dread for her father's safety. The next morning, Sung-won visits Hwa-yeon, assuring her that her father will soon be released. But to her shock, among the eunuchs attending him, she recognizes a familiar face, Kwon-yu, the man she once loved. During a court meeting, Sung-won questions whether Hwa-yeon's father is among those sentenced to death, angering the queen mother. Later, she privately scolds him for publicly showing concern for Ik-chul, who is a threat to everything she's planning. She also warns him to stay away from Hwa-yeon. She reminds him that as king, he may have any woman he wants, except her. Her control over him leaves Sung-won humiliated and frustrated, his power hollow under her dominance. Meanwhile, Hwa-yeon secretly visits Kwon-yu. Tears fill her eyes as she tells him how happy she is to see him alive and pleads for his help to uncover the king's murder. But Kwon-yu is no longer the man she once knew. After their failed elopement years ago, her father had him castrated. The trauma turned his love into hatred. He now serves Minister Yoon, the Queen Mother's trusted ally and secret lover, who helps her carry out her most ruthless orders. Kwon-yu coldly advises Hwa-yeon to flee alone if she wants to live, just as she did before. Later, Hwa-yeon prepares food for her imprisoned father, but the guards refuse to let her deliver it. She begs one of them to pass it on, unaware that Kwon-yu is nearby. He intercepts the meal from the guard to deliver himself. Inside, he wastes the food instead and discovers a hidden note meant for Ik-chul, revealing the king was poisoned. Sensing the bile and resentment in Kwon-yu, Ik-chul, who pleads with him to spare his daughter and take his revenge on him alone. Driven by vengeance, Kwon-yu joins forces with Minister Yoon and the Queen Mother to ensure Ik-chul's execution. The chance to avenge his mutilation is too perfect to ignore. When Hwa-yeon learns of her father's death sentence, she begs Sung-won to stop it. The young king confronts his mother, demanding that she call off the execution, but she refuses, determined to make Hwa-yeon and her family pay for defying her authority. In anger, Sung-won asserts his power as king and orders Kwon-yu to halt the execution immediately. But Kwon-yu defies him, personally overseeing Ik-chul's death to satisfy his grudge. When the truth reaches Hwa-yeon, she breaks down completely. Sung-won, guilt-ridden and powerless, rushes to her quarters, forcing his way past the guards. Inside, he finds her shattered, her spirit broken by grief and betrayal. The court ministers advise the Queen Mother and King Sung-won to exile Hwa-yeon and her son, fearing they could become a future threat. But Sung-won refuses. He argues that the innocent widow has suffered enough and should not bear punishment for her father's sins. Later, Sung-won visits Hwa-yeon, hoping to comfort her, but she refuses to see him. Her coldness wounds him deeply. Frustrated that she neither acknowledges nor appreciates his efforts, Sung-won's emotions spiral out of control. In anger and desperation, he takes her maid, Gyum-ok, as a minor concubine. But his motive isn't love, it's obsession. He uses Gyum-ok to gather secrets about Hwa-yeon's private life, questioning her relentlessly while indulging his fantasies. When he finally sleeps with her, his mind is consumed by Hwa-yeon, not the woman in his arms. The next morning, Gyum-ok is given her own chamber and a personal maid. The woman who once trembled in fear now laughs with satisfaction, proud of her sudden rise. Meanwhile, Hwa-yeon remains grief-stricken and uncertain of her next step. After some thought, she decides to ease her attitude towards Sung-won, knowing that keeping his favor could serve her well. She dresses beautifully and visits Sung-won, wearing the same hairpin he gifted her years ago, a quiet attempt to impress him. But their fragile peace doesn't last. When the Queen Mother learns of Hwa-yeon's renewed closeness to the king, she sees danger. She orders Minister Yoon to poison Hwa-yeon and her son before they become a threat to her power. Yoon passes the task to Kwon-yu, who coldly accepts without hesitation. At the same time, Gyum-ok's newfound privilege begins to intoxicate her. Ambition replaces loyalty as she schemes to bear the next royal heir and secure her position as queen. She even tries to draw Kwon-yu into her plan, threatening to expose his past if he refuses. Aware of his history with Hwa-yeon, she uses it as leverage to manipulate him. One day, Gyum-ok boldly approaches Hwa-yeon, acting innocent. She begs for jewelry to appear more beautiful before the king. Hwa-yeon, still kind despite her pain, allows her to choose freely. Eunuch selects the very hairpin Sung-won had given Hwa-yeon long ago. That night, while serving the king, Eunuch wears the pin. Sung-won instantly recognizes it. Rage flashes through him, and he strikes her across the face. He tears the pin from her hair, demanding to know where she got it. Eunuch falls to her knees, begging for forgiveness, but Sung-won remains furious. Desperate to save herself, she blurts out a secret: that the king's chief eunuch, Kwon-yu, was once Hwa-yeon's lover before she became the late king's concubine. Enraged, Sung-won storms into Hwa-yeon's chamber. He accuses her of betrayal, of giving away his gift, of conspiring with her former lover. Hwa-yeon tries to calm him, but he refuses to listen. He accuses her of bringing Kwon-yu into the palace as part of a plot against him and demands to know if Kwon-yu is the true father of her child. Humiliated, Hwa-yeon denies every claim. To confirm the truth, Sung-won orders Kwon-yu to be stripped. When he sees the man's castration scars, the accusation collapses. The sight enrages him further, not out of jealousy but shame. Overcome by desire and frustration, Sung-won attempts to force himself on Hwa-yeon. She stops him cold, telling him to return only when he becomes a true king. Her defiance pierces him. Sung-won vows to prove his power and make her his. After learning the truth about Kwon-yu's past with Hwa-yeon, Sung-won turns cruel toward him, punishing him at every opportunity. Meanwhile, Eunuch's scheming continues. Believing she can secure her position, she approaches the Queen Mother with a fabricated claim that the late king was not the true father of Hwa-yeon's son. But her plan backfires. The Queen Mother's expression hardens, and she orders the guards to drag Eunuch to the dungeon. Eunuch screams in disbelief as her ambitions collapse around her. The next day, following his confrontation with Sung-won, Kwon-yu's heart begins to change. He starts to believe that Hwa-yeon's son might be his. Guilt overwhelms him as he recalls how cruelly he treated her. Desperate to make things right, he begs Hwa-yeon to flee the palace with him and start over. But she refuses. She will not endanger her child again. The last time they tried to escape, it nearly cost them everything. Haunted by his past mistakes, Kwon-yu decides to act. He prepares the poison that Minister Yoon had given him to use on Hwa-yeon and her son, but instead, he slips it into Sung-won's medicinal drink. When they present it, Sung-won refuses to drink it, distrustful of everyone in the royal court. The eunuchs plead with him, but he insists. Sung-won orders Kwon-yu to drink the tea instead. He hesitates. In a moment of pressure, Kwon-yu drinks the potion himself. Within seconds, he collapses, vomiting blood. Shocked, Sung-won demands answers from the eunuchs, desperate to know who orchestrated the attempt to poison him, but they stand shocked and confused just as he is. He orders them to fetch the physician to save him as he has some questions for him. Determined to uncover the truth, he interrogates the royal doctor and learns that the director of medicine is Minister Yoon. The realization strikes hard. The attempt on his life could only have come from one place, his own mother's court. Sensing danger closing in, Hwa-yeon secretly sends her son away to a safe location. Not long after, she is arrested and brought before the Queen Mother, accused of treason. The Queen Mother orders Minister Yoon to kill her quietly and dispose of the body. But before he can carry out the act, Sung-won intervenes. He bursts in with the royal guards and commands them to arrest Minister Yoon immediately. Sung-won then confronts his mother face to face, his voice trembling with fury. He accuses her of plotting against Hwa-yeon and trying to poison him and seize power for herself. The Queen Mother denies being behind the attempt to poison him. However, she confesses that she poisoned the former king to secure Sung-won's rise to the throne. Her words shatter him. He never wanted the crown, and he had loved his stepbrother dearly. Sung-won summons Kwon-yu and Minister Yoon to the royal court to uncover who truly ordered the assassination attempt. When asked who told him to poison the king's drink, Kwon-yu lies, taking responsibility away from Hwa-yeon. He claims the order came from the Queen Mother and Minister Yoon. Sung-won, devastated and betrayed, orders the execution of all conspirators. His mother is spared but placed under permanent house arrest. As Kwon-yu is led away for execution, Hwa-yeon approaches him one last time. She thanks him for keeping his word. and for saving her son. Weak from the poison, Kuan Yu whispers that she must protect their son. But Hwa-yeon answers coldly, her son belongs to her alone. The truth pierces him. He sacrificed his life for a child who may not even be his. Moments later, he dies from the poison L before he can be banished. Later that night, Hwa-yeon visits Sung-won in his chamber. He embraces her, asking if he has finally become worthy, if he is now a true king in her eyes. Without resisting, she lets him hold her, and they share the moment he has long desired. While consumed by passion, Hwa-yeon grips the hairpin he once gave her and drives it into his neck. His eyes widen in disbelief as she watches him choke to death amidst tears and terror. Tears she quickly wipes away as he breathes his last. Soon after, the Queen Mother and Minister Yoon are assassinated as well, their reign of tyranny brought to a bloody end. In the aftermath, Hwa-yeon returns to the palace with her son. The boy runs ahead, laughing with childlike joy. He climbs onto the royal throne and sits excitedly, his tiny form looking almost lost on the massive throne. If you love twisted royal dramas filled with love, betrayal, and revenge, hit that subscribe button. Now let's enter the palace, where survival comes at the cost of your soul.